Let's start discussion on very that is the audit trail and unmasking digital SIG with the BS. What are BS skills apply on the audit trail, unmasking forensic digital. So let's start discussion on that topic detail. If you like my efforts and my channels and I'm providing knowledge, please like and subscribe my channel so that will motivate me to create more such videos. So let's first I'll provide you the introduction to the digital black box of the audit trail. So basically, let's understand what is an audit trail and why we require the audit trail in the banking system or the financial system or into the insurance organization and other the retail and other organizations and the regulation. It is and the regulatory requirement for the audit trail. So the audit trail it is and the chronological and table of record of events. Any system where that system gets some changes, logging in that system, log out in that system file extraction, file done by the user. So we need to track all the user's activity. We track that activity and the log audit trail and also if some customers of the bank these transactions do their customer details like name, mobile number, email ID, or into the gender, or address, application address, and other things to the ID. So that will track by the audit trail. So it's at the log who did what done by and when and where and how within the system that the activities done by the users or the customers. So act as a black box for the digital system recording every action done by the users. Every action done in the system, we are track that the audit trail. And why does it matter? Why the audit trail is most important? First one is accountability, compliance, and security it requires. So it holds an user responsible for their actions. The actions performed by the user so that accountable that track with the aim of audit trail. And the compliance it is meet the regulatory and legal requirement of the the consultants or the regulator like the GDPR and the HIPAA and the security essential for detecting and investigating the security incidents and what are the security levels given for the user. So that all the things we track with the audit trail. So let's move on the next slide. That's the digital forensic life cycle. So how is the life cycle? The stages we offer in the digital forensic life cycle. So the goal of legally admissible evidence from the digital data and track the admissible and evidence of each the data and the process to perform by the user. And the process first one is identification, then the preservation, analysis, documentation, and the presentation will show to the businesses. So in identification, discovering the potential digital evidence to the login and what the process who do to identification and the with the details and the presentation. So preservation will do the securing the data to prevent the alterations to store that data and save this data, and the analysis examine the evidence to find the insights in that data, so visualize that data and documentation. So we need to document all these the transaction history or the customer history or their records and how the audit trail system will work and how the user will perform in that audit trail, who are the users. So all these things we need to document and meticulously recording the entire process with the documented and store in the database. So and the presentation, reporting the finding to stakeholder or the legal team, what are the findings and what the insights we are getting generated from that the digital forensic life cycle of the audit trail. So that's why the audit trail is important in the digital forensic for the BA skill. So let's move on the next slide. That is the audit trail for the anatomy and the key components. Basically the audit trails of key components. So who, what, when, where, and why, these are the things we are capture when we are doing the audit trail. So in a who do the user ID, accountant, process that initiated the actions, how the action will perform by the user and what are the action done, and then in a what the specific action performed by the user, what are the actions that user will take, what are the changes, what are the updation, what are the deletions, code create, update, read, delete, what are the operation done by the user. So login and file access, data modification, what things done by the user in that system, so that we record. And when in the specific the timestamp and record of the event. So whenever what the action will done, the timestamp we will record in the when section. And the where, the source of action, so means the IP address, the device or the location on which the IP address, or on which the device, or on which the location that where the user will done, and why the contextual data explaining the reasons of the action, why the user will perform certain actions and the process by process, and why the motive he want to achieve the value for before and after the changes. If someone customer come to the branch and he wants to change the communication address or the name, if he is the HDR Patil, then he Harshal Dagaji Patil, he wants to update. So accordingly changes, he wants to update an address if he wants to change his communication address, so that before data and old data and new data the system will store. So that's the why reason is also there. So let's start bringing the gap between bringing the gaps and the business superpower. So why the business analysis is crucial for the audit trail implementation or the audit trail development. They just they don't just see the data, they understand the business context. So business analysts should know why we are doing the audit trail, what are the regulatory requirement, or what are the target, what are the in-scope functionality, or what are the business problem we are going to solve by doing the audit trail. So that's why the PA is important, and they have the superpower in the audit trail, and they can translate the technical finding into the business impact. What are the technical finding and the technical requirement, they can consider them as a business impact, or what are the impact on that the technical findings on the businesses, so that can understand by the business analyst. And they can act as a bridge between the technical forensic teams and legal department and the business leader and the operation team, or the compliance team, or the IT team, or the development team, or the testing team, or the quality team, or the UAT team. So these, they are the bridge between all the departments or all the teams in the organization, so they know why they are doing that things. And the core skill applied it to the forensic of the business analyst. So these are the core skills, like a requirement gathering, then with using the requirement initiation technique, like the interview questionnaire, jot session, brainstorming, group discussion, meetings, workshops, and then analyze that requirement, prepare the document for each requirement, and the process modeling documentation to prepare the business requirement document, functional requirement document, test case document, and user case document, or to draw the UML diagram, or through the wireframes prototype, how the UI UX should look like, the order, the audit trail, to draw the ERD diagram for the audit trail. So to all these things, to draw the user manual, how the audit trail functionally or technically work in the system, to draw the flow charts, to draw the swimlane diagram, to draw the UML diagram. So that's done by the business analyst, and continuously interacting with the stakeholder, communicating with the stakeholder, update the progress of project, and management to communicate with the management, prepare the RACI matrix, to prepare the high interest and high influence matrix, to understand the stakeholder viewer and gather the requirement related to the audit trail, and make sure that the audit trail will be implemented in the system as the business, that satisfy the business goal, and that satisfy the business, that remove the business problem. And the data analysis and visualization things will done by the business analyst in the core skill. So let's move on the next slide. The BA skill in action to initiation phase. So there are the phases that the BA will implement it. So the traditional initial things with interacting with the system owners or the users who are using the system and who are the project sponsor, interacting with them and gathering the information on a business process and the data flow, how the data will flow, where the data will sources, where the data destination. So that level of understanding business analyst should have, how the schema will look like, how the entity relationship diagram will look like. So that level of understanding the BA should have, and then start to requirement gathering and the requirement initiation. In a forensic contest, how the business analyst thinking should be increased. A BA identify which system and the user are most relevant to the incident, who are the most user, who are the low user, who are the high influence, who are the high interest, who are the low interest. So that level of thinking BA should have to gather the requirement, and they conduct the target interviews to understand the user normal behavior and abnormal behavior, and what are the user problem and what are the business problem, and what are the in-scope functionality they are going to solve by implementing the audit trail in the system. and to goal establish a baseline of normal to spot the abnormal in the audit trail. So these are other things is done in the audit trail. So let's move on the next slide. That is the next, the process modeling, the BA skill in actions for the process modeling. So the traditional process of modeling, there are the old techniques we are using to do the flow chart, the process flow, or to do the BPM in diagrams, or to draw the UML diagrams by creating the flow charts and diagram to do the map of the business. So we use the MS Visio, Draw.io, InVision, Figma tools to draw this diagram and to understand the process, who are the interacting with what part of that system, who are the users, and what tasks they are perform, and how the system will do the audit trail of that process, and what are the stages if done by the user. So we will track and do the audit trail. In the context of the forensics, what will happen, a BA reconstruct the sequence of event using the audit trail, and how the process will look like in the audit trail, and they visually map the data flow and the user action, identify where and when the breach will occur, and how to we get satisfied that breach. And that's the level of thinking the BA should have, and to provide the clear and feasible time scale of event for the final report, how the final report will look like, and how the process modeling will look like, and what are the output from that, what are the input process output from that, the process modeling that should be done by the business analyst, and he should understand in a broad way, the functional way and the technical way and the technology things. So let's move on the next slide. The case study in the incident trader. So trade. So let's discussion on the case study. So a company suspects the disagreement employ an exfiltrating sense of the customer data. So that's the exfiltering the customer sensitive data. So the institution, or they wants to exfiltering the sensitive data of the customers. So let's discuss on the BA role in that insider trader. So initiation, in the initiation BA, the BA will interview with the employee team and understand their typical data and assess pattern, how they will assess the system and how they are gather the requirement. Then analyze, the BA will do the audit trail to compare the suspect's activity against the establishment baseline. So we will do to prepare the UML diagrams, wireframe, prototype, how, and to do the analysis document or the functional specification document, to draw the UI, UX, ERD diagram, how the process will flow in the functional way or the technical way, and accordingly, conduct the meeting with the development team, and finding the BA discover the spike in the file downloaded outside the normal business hours from the unapproved device and the unusual location. So that's are the finding will done by the BA and implement in the system. So outcome, the BA analysis provide the key evidence needed to confirm the breach and support the legal action and improve the system efficiency. So these are things there. So let's move on the next slide. That is a very important, the tools of the trade. What are the tools we use, and the BA role for that rule to do the audit trail, how to track the audit trail. So SIEM is a security information and event management is one of the tools that is used for the audit trail. So tool plug, IBM Q radar, and Microsoft Sentinel. These are the tools used for the audit trail. So BA role in that rule is define what the consistent in critical event and create the dashboard for the business level reporting and track each the things in the audit trail. Then discuss on the forensic toolkits that is used in the market. So tools are the FTK, Atosp, in case, Magnet, Exom. These are the tools available in the market, and BA role work with the forensic analyst to ensure the collected and data address the key business questions for the investigation, and do the investigation in detail and the 360-degree way to understand each the requirements. And the data visualization tools like the Tableau, Power BI used for the data visualization of audit trail, who are the interacting with the system, what are the roles are interacting with the system, and what are the tasks they are perform. So to visualize that thing with the demographic level or the branch level or the the national level or the region level or the zonal level. And the PA role in that, the visualization is a critical, visualize the dashboard and report to make the complex editorial data and understandable to non-technical stakeholder, and help them how the data will look like, draw the bar chart or to draw the heat map, to draw the pie chart with that the audit trail login. So these are the tools used by the BA in the audit trail. So let's move on the last slide, that is the conclusion, the future of digital forensic, how will look like, and what is the future of digital forensic. So the digital forensic is no longer a purely technical discipline. It will intact with the technical and non-technical, and there is a, maybe in future there is a no code local concept will in the digital forensic, and more the interaction of business analyst will there in that things. The human element is just critical, has a data, has the data, and that is the most important. And the PS skill provide the essential context and the communications breeze the turn raw audit trial data into the actionable insights and defensible evidence, and to grow for the forensic. And the PA isn't just a facilitator, they are the detective, translator, and strategic partner in the fight against the cybercrime, and they do the different things in the cybercrime, and it is as the futures for that. So guys, that's the end of this video. If you like my efforts and my channels and my teaching styles, so do the like and subscribe my video, so that will help me to motivate, and that will help me and motivate to create such more videos for you, and to understand, and to be, you are become the business analyst in future. So thank you so much guys.